Mr. Worry. Whatever happened, he worried about it. If it rained, he worried that his roof was going to leak. If it didn't rain, he worried that all the plants in his garden were going to die. If he set off shopping, he worried that the shops would be shut when he got there. And when the shops weren't shut when he got there, he worried that he was spending too much money shopping. When he got home with his shopping, he worried that he'd left something behind or that something had fallen out of his basket on the way home. And when he got home and discovered that he hadn't left anything behind and that nothing had fallen out of his basket on the way home, he worried that he'd bought too much. And then he worried about where to put it all. Life was just one long worry for poor Mr. Worry. One day, he went for a walk. He was worried that he might walk too far and not be able to get home. But, on the other hand, he was worried that if he didn't walk far enough, he wouldn't get enough exercise. He hurried along worrying. Or you could say,
Why?
He worried along hurrying. He met Mr. Bump. Hey, I'm very worried about you, he said. Why's that? Asked Mr. Bump. I'm worried that one of these days you might hurt yourself.
Why?
Don't you worry Ed, about that, replied Mr. Bump, and went off, tripping over his own feet. Mr. Worry went on. He met Mr. Noisy. Hey, I'm very worried about you, he said. Why is that? Asked Mr. Noisy. Well, I'm worried that you might lose your voice, said Mr. Worry. Don't you worry ahead about that, said Mr. Noisy, and went off. Clump, 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 clump. Mr. Worry went on. He met Mr. Greedy. Hey, I'm very worried about you, he said. Oh, why is that? Asked Mr. Greedy. Well, I'm worried that you might eat too much and be sick, explained Mr. Worry. Me? Replied Mr. Greedy. Eat too much? Oh, impossible. And he went off for lunch. Mr. Worry went on. He met a wizard. Hello, said the wizard. Who are you? I'm Mr. Worry. And you're looking, commented the wizard. I tell you what, he went on, for he was a helpful sort of wizard. Why don't you go home and write down every single thing that you're worried about, and I'll make sure that none of these things will ever happen. Then you won't have anything to worry about, would you? Mr. Worry smiled. It was the first time he'd smiled in a long time. In fact, it was the first time he'd smiled that year. He hurried home in great excitement. When he got home, he sat down to write out all the things that worried. Every single thing. It was a long list. And then he went to bed and had the best night's sleep he'd had in years. The following morning, the wizard came round to collect Mr. Worry's list. My goodness me, he said. He saw the size of it. However, he said, leave it to me. I'll go off and make sure that none of these things will ever happen. Off he went. Nothing to worry about now, called over his shoulder. Nothing at all. Mr. Worry heaved a sigh of relief. That day was the first day in Mr. Worry's life that he didn't have a single thing to worry about. And the next day, and the day after, and the day after that. On Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Mr. Worry didn't have a care in the world. But on Monday morning, he was a worried man. Oh, dear. What do you think was worrying him? Can you guess? He went to see the wizard. Oh, dear, said the wizard when he saw him standing on his doorstep. What's worrying you now? I'll tell you, said Mr. Worry. I'm worried because I don't have anything to worry about. And he went home to worry.
The end.
Mr. Impossible could do the most amazing things. For instance, he could jump over a house. Impossible. And Mr. Impossible could make himself invisible. All he had to do was to stand there and think about becoming invisible, and he became invisible. Impossible. And Mr. Impossible could fly. All he had to do was stand there and flap his arms about, and off he flew. Impossible. He lived in an impossible-looking house. Have you ever seen a house in such an impossible place? Of course not. One day, he was out walking in the woods when he met a boy called William. William was on his way to school. Hello there, said Mr. Impossible. Hello, said William. I'm William. I'm impossible. Really? Said William. Sure am, smiled Mr. Impossible. Could you do impossible things? Asked William. Haven't come across anything I couldn't do. William thought. Can you climb up that tree? He asked, pointing to the biggest tree in the wood. Oh, I can do better than that, replied Mr. Impossible. I can walk up that tree. And he did. William thought again. Can you stand on one hand? Yeah? Well, I can do better than that, replied Mr. Impossible. I can stand on no hand. And he did. That's impossible, cried William. Sure is, replied Mr. Impossible. Then William remembered that he was on his way to school. Why don't you come with me? Yeah. But I've never been to a school before. Then it's time you did, cried William. Come on. William and Mr. Impossible sat at the back of William's classroom with all the other children. The teacher came in, but didn't notice that there was somebody extra in his class that morning. Morning, children, he said. I have a very difficult sum for you to do today. It will take you most of the morning to work out the answer. And he wrote the sum on the blackboard. It really was the most difficult sum William had ever seen in his whole life, full of adding up and taking away and multiplications and divisions and other things William didn't enjoy. The teacher was right. It would indeed take up most of the morning to work out the answer, if not most of the afternoon as well. Mr. Impossible whispered in William's ear. William put up his hand. Yes, William, said the teacher. There's something about the sum that you don't understand. Please, sir, said William. Is the answer 23? Teacher, then, absolutely, totally, completely amazed. How did you work out the sum so quickly? John, it's impossible. Ain't nothing impossible, mister, said Mr. Impossible from the back of the class and stood up. Well, I never did, exclaimed the teacher. After that, Mr. Impossible spent all day at school. He showed the teacher how he could read a book upside down. But that's impossible, said the children who were watching. Yes, sir, said Mr. Impossible. Then William asked Mr. Impossible if he'd like to play in the school football match. Sure would, replied Mr. Impossible, but I ain't never played football before. You know what he did? He kicked the football so high into the air that when it came down, it had snow on it.
Foram mais linda, maravilhosa esse mundo.
Then it was time to go home. Mr. Impossible said goodbye to all the people at school, and then he said goodbye to William.
Quem é a criança mais linda, maravilhosa,
Goodbye, Mr.
avó?
Impossible, said William. So long, William.
Quem é a criança mais linda, maravilhosa da avó?
William
Sou eu!
and went home.
Você que é o coisa mais linda da minha avó?
William's mother and father were waiting for him. Oh, William, they said, you have a good day at school? Yes, he replied. And I met someone who could do anything in the world.
O que ele quis dizer?
Oh, really, William? They
Yes,
both laughed.
pai. O que ele quis dizer?
William smiled and went inside. And 100 miles away, a small figure was listening to what William's mother and father were saying. And then he went to sleep. Standing on his head. And we all know that that is downright impossible. Yes, sir.
Ai,
O que aconteceu, vó?
ai, esse cheiro tá tão ruim.
Cheiro do quê, filho?
Você tá cheio de amaciante.
Cheiro de amaciante? Esse não é amaciante, não, é veja.